Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So we have more primaries on the way on Tuesday out of 3 states. We have runoffs in Georgia for several House primaries. We have a runoff for the Alabama Senate race, and we also have some primaries on the way out of the state of Virginia. A lot of the congressional districts were decided by convention vote. However, still, several districts will be having voter primaries where voters will go and select the nominees for that district. So we're going to cover all of this and more. We're going to dive right into it after I tell you guys about redeaglepolitics.com, because if you guys want more REP exclusive content, you can get some at redeaglepolitics.com. We have exclusive videos on the website for just $5 a month. That is 16 cents a day that you will never see on my channel. Also, we have articles. You can join the Discord server as well, which is back. If you were kicked from it, you can rejoin with the link here, assuming you are a member. And also, we have shop.redeaglepolitics.com too. You guys can get all of these epic merch designs and more. They are epic. I love them so far. Wall supply still lasts. This is going fast, and a lot of you guys like it so far, which is pretty epic. So make sure you check both of these sites out. The link is in the pinned comment below for both. So we're going to dive into this. We're going to start off with the state of Georgia because there are several primaries that have gone to runoffs. I was disappointed that a lot of the Trump-endorsed candidates for the statewide race had lost. However, Trump endorsed a lot of bad candidates down ballot that I honestly want to lose because he made the wrong decision in several of these races. Now, I'm not talking about the 2nd district, but we are going to cover the 2nd district first. You have a runoff between Jeremy Hunt and Chris West. I think Hunt is a stronger candidate overall. He has better names that have endorsed him than Chris West in terms of the caliber of politicians. He also seems to be somebody who's fairly good on the issues, might actually win that district. It is a majority black district. It is roughly D+10, but because it is a midterm year where the national environment is moving fast to the right, and because of the fact that black turnout might dip, if Jeremy Hunt is able to have a very strong showing among the voters that do show up, he is very possibly in the running to actually flip that seat red, even if it's just going to be for 2 years. So do keep that in mind out of the 2nd district in Georgia. But beyond that point, we also have to talk about the 6th district of Georgia, which is also very important. And Donald Trump went out there and he endorsed Jake Evans, who only got 23% of the vote, thankfully, and I'm pretty sure he's going to lose the runoff here because McCormick got 43.1% already, and the Trump-endorsed candidate Jake Evans, he only got 23%, and Trump really hasn't supported him verbally a whole lot since then that would really raise his name recognition, that would raise his support base. So it really seems as if Evans might be dead on arrival. Evans is somebody who is very socially liberal. He is weak on immigration. He's weak on all the social issues, but he, served in Trump's cabinet. He was a former tech executive, so he got the Trump endorsement. Rich McCormick is very solid on the issues. He's very good on immigration. He's a very conservative candidate. He is an America First candidate in my view, and he actually outperformed Trump in suburban Atlanta in 2020 by a couple of points in that district. So do keep that in mind as well, that he is very strong. He is electable, even though this district did move vastly to the right, so it really wouldn't matter. But either way, McCormick is by far the best candidate. He's, I believe, seen the last video I did where I mentioned him. I don't know if he'll be watching this one, but he definitely is the better candidate overall, and I do hope he wins, and I believe he will win, especially given the fact that he just needs to get 7% out of the remaining 30% that did not go for him in Evans. He's almost certainly going to win that runoff, and he is a very solid, strong candidate, and Trump made a big mistake by not endorsing him. So furthermore, we also have the 10th District Republican primary. This one is going to a runoff. As we know, it already has. The election is going to be on Tuesday, but it's going to be between Mike Collins and Vernon Jones. Now, Mike Collins is somebody that is an immigration hardliner. When it comes to economics, you could say he's kind of one of those free marketeer boomer types, but even so, he's gotten a lot better on the issues. He's a grassroots trucker. He's going to be a part of the trucker caucus, and Vernon Jones is going to be his opponent. Now, Vernon Jones made headlines back in 2020 when he decided to switch parties from Democrat to Republican. back when he was in the state legislature and become a staunch supporter and ally of Donald Trump. However, it's important to note that he did so when he had like a 20% approval rating in his district or so. He was not a very popular state representative, and I still had high hopes for this guy because he could still, be a star in the state party of Georgia in the long run because he like flipped because of whatever. But at the same time, you actually look into this guy's record, and he has been a flip-flopper his entire career. He actually supported George W. Bush. He was like a neoconservative Democrat to begin with. And when it comes to the racial identity issues, he has been historically very much in line with BLM and the left. And he still kind of perpetuates that in like MAGA face. You put a MAGA hat on, right? And you still are perpetuating a lot of the same old talking points. And Trump only endorsed him in this race to really get him out of the governor's race. Because Trump knew how weak of a candidate he truly was because he has all these sexual assault scandals. So Vernon Jones is a big disappointment, but his stock is in free fall. Jones coin is down. Collins in the betting odds is like favored at 90 cents or so. And I really believe Collins is going to pull this off, probably 60-40. And he probably should because Jones is going to be a liability. He's basically Roy Moore with a tan at this point, and it's funny. Remember Doug Jones back in 2017? He put out that ad that was like, imagine if Roy Moore was a black man. You think the GOP would try to make him senator or whatever? And it's like, well, actually, they kind of are doing this right now in Georgia's 10th district, believe it or not. But I think Jones is going to fall short even with the Trump endorsement to Mike Collins because Mike Collins is running a fairly solid campaign even without that Trump endorsement. And he finished first last time. Jones only got 21% with the endorsement. In my opinion, this very well could end up being a resounding rebuke of Vernon Jones, mainly because of his past record, because of those scandals that are in his history. And he is somebody that really was overrated by a lot of people at the onset of his campaign, me included, by the way. But he's probably going to lose resoundingly. So beyond that point, we have to talk about Virginia and cover some of these congressional races that we have here. So beyond that point, there's really not a primary in the 1st district. The 2nd district, there is a primary between these 4 individuals: Tommy Altman, Andy Bonn, Jerome Bell, and Jen Kiggins. Jen Kiggins is the establishment candidate. She is favored in the polls. As of now, she is likely to win. I like Jerome Bell a lot. He's very controversial. I know he said some controversial things. Either way, I'm pretty sure that in this national environment, he very well could win the general. He is endorsed by far better people than Jen Kiggins. He is an America First candidate through and through, wants an immigration moratorium, wants to tackle big tech, etc. But is he going to win the primary? Well, the polls right now show that he is underwater, but again, it is just one poll, so you never know what will happen at the end of the day. But Kiggins is a very establishmentarian candidate. She has a lot of funding. She is favored, which is unfortunate, but we'll just have to wait and see. So beyond that point, in the 3rd district, there's really not much happening there. That district is a safe Democrat district. In the 4th district, there's really nothing happening there because it's a safe Democrat district. The 5th district, Bob Good won Bigot Convention, which you love to see. Bob Good is pretty epic, the best representative from Virginia in Congress. In the 6th district, Ben Klein is facing a primary challenger from the right. It's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out, but Klein is likely favored as of right now. In the 7th district, this is going to be a very high-profile primary on the Republican side because this is the race to replace Abigail Spanberger, and Republicans are running a lot of candidates there, but none that really stands out, I would say. Now, David Ross, I believe, has the more like based lineup of endorsements in the state, but he really isn't favored right now, doesn't really have that much name recognition. Bryce Reeves is the only one of these people that has a Wikipedia page, and if you look at the endorsements, Reeves has several endorsements. Yesli Vega, who helped run the Youngkin campaign, tends to have more. He's probably, in my opinion, going to be favored at this point. Just because of the endorsements that he has, because of the funding that he has, because of the fact that he already has a big foot in the door regarding the state party. A lot of people like the fact that he worked on a winning campaign. I think that's going to help him at the end of the day. We'll have to see. Either way, beating Spanberger is a top priority. Somehow the predictions still have this one as tilt to lean D. And it's like, you can't do that. I think Spanberger might be able to win. She has a lot of funding, CIA asset. We understand that. Hopefully she goes down, by the way, but you can't have this at tilt or lean D. The election mafia, they still haven't learned anything. And they're going to be in shock once they see what's coming come November. But District 8, there's really nothing there. There was a Republican convention, but it's not a competitive district. District 9, it doesn't really seem like there's much there either. District 10, this one was at a convention, the nominee for the Republican side. Fairly solid candidate, especially for this district. Hung Cao, can he actually win? I don't know. We'll have to really wait and see, but he won at the convention. So beyond that point, there's the 11th district, and there's really nothing going on there. Was decided at convention. So beyond that point, we have to move on to Alabama, which is another very high-profile race. However, this could have been a lot closer than it actually was. If Trump actually endorsed or re-endorsed Mo Brooks, but he didn't do it. In fact, Trump unendorsed Mo Brooks. Mo Brooks was probably going to run away with this thing at the onset. He didn't really run the best campaign, admittedly speaking. He was down in the polls. He fell to third place in the polls. And then from there, he ended up losing Trump's endorsement. Trump says he endorsed him because he went woke on the 2020 election. But again, why did Trump not unendorse people that went woke on the 2020 election like John Boozman that are actually really weak on the issues? Why did he endorse people like Mike Crapo and Tim Scott to begin with that, were congratulating Biden in early November 2020? And when it came to 1/6, they blamed Trump for everything, even if they didn't vote to impeach. It's all about the endorsement record for Trump. And that is a fatal flaw with Trump in terms of his ego. It's getting in the way of him making actual endorsements that help him, and as a result, it hurt. Now, I will say that the one silver lining in this for Mo Brooks was the fact that him getting that unendorsement led him to actually get off his rear end. It led him to start campaigning, and he did actually come back and advance to the runoff, and Katie Britt was like around 45%, and Brooks was down at 28%, and a lot of people were saying that Brooks would have gotten a lot of the Durant support. So beyond that point, Trump then decided to step in and not re-endorse Mo Brooks as he should have, but he endorsed Katie Britt. Now, Trump previously slammed Katie Britt as somebody who was a protege of Mitch McConnell, as she is. She also has ties to Richard Shelby. She's basically going to be Richard Shelby if she wins, which at this point is the most likely course of action. Sadly, Richard Shelby is a RINO. Through and through, I will say. He's a very establishmentarian senator out of the state of Alabama, and Britt was one of his lead staffers. She is his protege, make no mistake about it. And Trump decided to step in and say, no, Katie Britt is an America First fighter, and you look at her record in the past, and it has been anything but. Yeah, now she's talking a big game on immigration. Now she's talking a big game on foreign policy. Where was she a year or two ago on these issues? Absolutely nowhere to be found. So Donald Trump got conned by Katie Britt. Now, I will say Mo Brooks did kind of aid and abet the downfall of his campaign when he voted for the Ukraine aid package. And this is really weird for him because he's been solid on foreign policy his whole entire career. Why just now did he break from this? And I firmly believe it's because he was afraid, and this is bad politics from Mo Brooks, he was afraid that he was going to be attacked by Katie Britt if he voted against the aid and it would hurt him. But actually, Katie Britt did the right thing politically. She attacked him from the right. It's kind of like David McCormick in Pennsylvania. Yeah, the guy has a record that's just as liberal as somebody like Lisa Murkowski, just as neocon as George W. Bush. But he was able to outflank a lot of these candidates on rhetoric. He knew how to run a campaign, and as a result, you look at Western Pennsylvania, and he won a lot of those Trumpian counties in Western PA, even over the Trump endorsement, even if it was all a grift. So Mo Brooks fell directly into the hands of the opposition. He caved, and he allowed Katie Britt to outflank him from the right, which was a big mistake for him, and I'm not going to let him off the hook for it, but either way, he's still by far the best candidate. He's been an America First fighter his entire career. He's been very solid on immigration, but we're looking at this personally. I think Britt's going to win it like 60-40 or so. It's going to be a complete repeat of the Tuberville Sessions election back in 2020, except this time, I mean, we better hope and pray that Katie Britt is as good as Tommy Tuberville is, because he's actually surprised me so far. He's been fairly solid. So Katie Britt has to go out there, and Katie Britt needs to actually govern the way that she campaigned, but you can't bank on that. We understand how these politicians, especially these career politicians, tend to behave, and it was absolutely a mistake for Trump to unendorse Brooks and to endorse Britt. And in terms of what Mo Brooks said about 2020, he basically said we need to focus on electing America First candidates in 2022 and 2024, and we can't let the past prevent us from doing that. And he is absolutely right to say that. There was nothing wrong with what he said. Obviously, people are going to take it out of context, but Trump didn't even unendorse him then and there. Trump waited until Mo Brooks's poll numbers were so low, and then he said, I'm unendorsing this guy. He unendorsed him the day after a bad poll for him came out, basically, and said, hey, you know, this guy fell in the polls because of this. And it's really because Mo Brooks didn't really play good politics, didn't really run a good campaign in general. Like, I'm not going to make excuses for the guy, but ideologically wise, he has been very solid his whole entire career. So it's a shame that he's likely to lose. But either way, we'll see. Still vote for Mo Brooks if you live in Alabama. I will say that. But either way, I think he's going to lose by like 20 or so in the runoff. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description, and make sure you buy the merch and join the website. The links are in the pinned comment down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.